Guys, welcome to another video. My name is The Hero, and you clicked on this video to find out what the top 10 Christmas movies of all time is. So let's not waste any time. Some might say that the perfect Christmas movie exists, and it's somewhere out there that you just haven't seen it yet. While other people might have that one movie they watch every single year. Whether it's snuggling up next to the fire, or grabbing a nice cup of hot cocoa, we all enjoy those sappy Christmas movies around the holidays. So get cuddled up on the couch, turn on those Christmas lights, and let's dive into this video. So of course, when I think of Christmas movies, the first movie that always comes to mind every single year is of course Disney's The Santa Claus. The Santa Claus has been a movie that I've literally watched every year since I was a kid, mostly because it was made pretty much when I was born. So for anyone that hasn't seen Santa Claus, the story goes a divorced dad, Scott, has custody of his son on Christmas Eve. After he accidentally kills a man in a Santa suit, aka the Santa Claus, they are magically transported to the North Pole, where an elf explains that Scott must take Santa's place before the next Christmas arrives. Scott thinks he is dreaming, but over the next several months, he gains weight and grows an exceptionally amazing white beard that maybe that night at the North Pole wasn't a dream after all, and maybe Scott has a lot of work to do. So of course, this has been a fan favorite of many people that love Christmas movies because it actually incorporates a normal person like us becoming the Santa Claus. And it has a little bit of that Disney darkness in it, as we do see Santa get killed off. I don't know what it is about Disney, but they love death. But the idea that a normal man becomes Santa Claus and becomes a better father figure for his son, because let's be honest, Santa Claus can't really do much wrong. And of course, we got more in the franchise such as Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3. The movies do tend to get a little bit iffy as it goes along, but for me, every single one of them movies, I always put all those movies together because I watch them every single year, and every year they're enjoyable, whether they're cringe or not. When I think of Christmas movie, I think The Santa Claus. You can actually watch this movie this year on Disney Plus, as well as check out the new series that just dropped on Disney Plus called The Santa Clauses. Of course, next on my list, you can't go wrong with watching Elf. Elf is one of those movies that I literally have to watch every Christmas season. I don't think I've missed a year without watching Elf since it was released. This movie, not only do I love Will Ferrell as a comedy actor, but this honestly is my favorite role of his that he's ever played in any movie in his entire career. And that is big because a lot of people love Will Ferrell's career choices and the movies that he's been in, but for me, Elf is just something else, man. And this possibly could be because of the Christmas time vibes, as well as having, again, that father-son relationship that seems to be driving a lot of these Christmas movies now that I think about it. So Elf is about Buddy, who was accidentally transported to the North Pole as a toddler and raised to adulthood among Santa's elves. Unable to shake the feeling that he doesn't fit in, the adult Buddy travels to New York in full elf uniform in search of his real father. As it happens, this is Walter Hobbs, aka James Cain for all you Godfather fans out there, a cynical businessman who could care less about who his son really is. Or so we thought. After a DNA test proves that Buddy is his son, Walter attempts to start a relationship with the childlike Buddy with increasingly chaotic results. And I'm assuming that you kind of know how this is going to end up. With Will Ferrell playing the iconic role of Elf and all the chaotic things that he goes through throughout this film, it has become a staple in my Christmas time events that I cannot go 1 year without watching this crazy movie. This movie makes me laugh so much, so if you're looking for that comedy Christmas movie, this is the one that you need to look for. Also, it was directed by Jon Favreau, so if you don't know who that is, he's the guy that pretty much created the MCU with Iron Man. You can actually find this movie streaming right now on HBO Max, or you can rent it currently on Amazon Prime. The next movie we're going to talk about is Home Alone. So with Home Alone actually being older than myself, this literally is a movie that I grew up watching every single year when I was old enough to watch Christmas movies. And if I'm not wrong, this is one of my mom's favorite Christmas movies of all time. The director of this movie you might recognize as the same director of the first Harry Potter movie. And for anyone that hasn't seen this masterpiece of a movie, the movie is about a bratty 8-year-old Kevin McAllister. When he acts out the night before a family trip to Paris, his mother, Catherine O'Hara, makes him sleep in the attic. After the McAllisters mistakenly leave for the airport without Kevin, he awakens to an empty house and assumes his wish to have no family has come true. But his excitement sours when he realizes that two con men, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, plan to rob the McAllister residence and that he alone must protect his family home. And I think this movie is actually very high on the list for a lot of Christmas movie fans and probably is recognized as one of the best Christmas movies ever, as as you can tell why it's in this list. The very idea of a kid being left alone in a house while criminals come to rob it just seemed very far-fetched, and one of those things that if I was in a room getting this idea pitched to me, I'd probably be like, no, this would never work. But the contrary actually happened, and this movie was a success as well as brought a comedy factor to another Christmas classic. Seeing the shenanigans of Kevin literally going through and protecting his household like he was some kid Rambo against criminals, and mind you, the criminals being hilarious, just makes this Christmas tale an enjoy to watch every single year. Of course, there's been a second movie and spin-off shows of this movie, but they just don't do the first movie justice. And so I always classify those in their own category away from the first one. And I believe this connects to a big variety of audiences, kids and adults alike, because imagine you as a kid being this Rambo of a kid and literally protecting everything and just pretty much becoming an action hero in your own household. While on the adult spectrum, realizing that you left your kid miles away because of how big your family is. Again, one of my favorite Christmas movies ever, and a movie that you need to watch right now as it is currently streaming now on Disney+. So have you ever gone back to the future? Well, in this movie, they go straight to the North Pole. Directed by the man himself, Robert Zemeckis, who directed the Back to the Future franchise, Polar Express is one of the best Christmas movies out there. With the movie being an adaptation of a book of the Polar Express, this movie pretty much has everything it needs to be the perfect Christmas movie. And for any of you that haven't seen this is what it's about. Starring Tom Hanks and having that iconic director Robert Zemeckis, they reunite for Polar Express, an inspiring adventure based on the beloved children's book by Chris Van Allsburg. When a doubting young boy takes an extraordinary train ride to the North Pole, he embarks on a journey of self-discovery that shows him that the wonder of life never fades for those who believe. And this movie does just that, as it continues and continues to show that this is another coming-of-age movie that Robert Zemeckis does so well and shows what it means to believe. Because as we know, Santa is nothing without the kids that believe in him. And I thought the storyline of what this movie was about was having someone that was doubting what the existence of Santa Claus was, the magic fading, if you will, and him rediscovering it with kids his own age and going to the North Pole and meeting Santa. This movie could bring a tear to your eye, as well as just having Tom Hanks play multiple versions of himself in the movie. If you have not seen this movie, this is one of those that you need to put high on your list because you and your kids will love this film. This film is actually currently streaming on HBO Max, as well as you can rent it on Amazon Prime right now. So the next film I have on my list, and I've checked it twice, is a Christmas tale that came out when I think it was needed most. During that sickness that was all over the world, this movie dropped and brought tears to my eyes because I think it's exactly what the world needed. And the title of this movie is actually Netflix's Jingle Jangle. This movie actually stars Forrest Whitaker as a beloved toy maker who actually gets betrayed by his apprentice years ago, which you might recognize as Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, who finds new hope when his bright young granddaughter arrives on his doorstep. And it follows this story of a grandfather and granddaughter pair and duo pretty much reinventing the ideas that this toy maker had, and shows that his granddaughter can bring him out of his rut. And just that idea of having a young character bringing magic back to an older character's life is why these Christmas movies are so good. It brings magic to the movies, and I think that's what Christmas movies need, and Jingle Jangle has all the right magic in all the right places. And the numbers speak for themselves, as in Rotten Tomatoes, the audience and the critics both love this film so much. It's one of those films that has some humor in it throughout. You'll laugh at places, you'll cry at places, but it gives you so much emotions that you can just not hate it. And what's Christmas without toys and toy makers? That is literally what Santa Claus and the elves are, so just knowing this brings that Christmas joy. It just makes the performances so much better. You can actually catch this movie right now streaming on Netflix, so go check it out because you do not want to miss this one. So have you ever gotten mad if they've ever done a live action adaptation of a anime slash animation that you love so much? Well, this movie can go either way for some people, but me personally, I love it so much, man. It makes me laugh all the time. And of course, that movie is the remake of Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. The movie adaptation follows a Jim Carrey Grinch, which honestly, that automatically sells you for the movie. If it doesn't, I don't know what you are. Go home. But this movie follows Jim Carrey playing the Grinch and is a live-action adaptation of the classic Christmas tale. And of course, little things change and they have to add a little bit of backstory to what the Grinch was, but this movie has opened up so many memes because of how many comedic moments are throughout the film. And if you haven't seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas, it kind of goes like this. In this live-action adaptation of the beloved children's tale by Dr. Seuss, the reclusive Green Grinch, played by Jim Carrey, decides to ruin Christmas for the cheery citizens of Whoville. Reluctantly joined by his dog Max, the Grinch comes down from his mountaintop home and sneaks into town to swipe everything holiday-related from the Who's. However, the bitter Grump finds a hitch in his plans when he encounters the endearing Cindy Lou Who. And of course, this beloved tale is literally just another adaptation of a young child bringing Christmas to someone that might be a grump. And we've seen this played out in many, many movies going forward, and seeing a lot of this happening in Christmas movies is kind of a general concept. But the very idea is why it brings magic to the movie. Having a young child bring that Christmas magic to an older character has always been beloved by fans everywhere, and this is one of those movies that, with age, it has gotten more and more love towards this film. People literally have loved this character so much that it's become one of Jim Carrey's best performances of all time. And for me, it has to be up there with Jim Carrey's The Mask and even Liar Liar, because the comedicness that he brings to the character the Grinch was just so unexpected, and without him playing the Grinch in this film, I don't think this film would get the love that it still does today. Again, you can find this movie right now streaming on HBO Max, or you can rent it on Amazon Prime. Jingle All the Way has been an iconic film for me since I was a kid, because this movie literally came out when I was born. This was another film that I watched every single year, mainly because my mom is part German and she loved Arnold. So of course we had to buy this movie when I was young. But for me, this has been one of the most iconic roles, in my opinion, for Arnold, because I grew up with it. And just seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger inside of an actual comedy movie and his accent, it just makes me laugh so much. And this movie might not actually be recognized by a lot of fans, so let me go ahead and break this one down for you. Workaholic Howard Langston, which is Arnold, wants to make up with his son Jamie and wife Liz. He promises to get Jamie the hottest toy of the season, Turbo Man, even though it's Christmas Eve and the toy is practically sold out everywhere. As Langston hunts down the elusive gift, he runs into a mailman, Myron, which is played by the man himself, Sinbad, another father on the same quest for the same exact toy. With the clock winding down, Langston's moral code is tested as he starts to learn the real meaning of Christmas. And of course, who wouldn't love this movie? You got Arnold, you got action, you got Sinbad, you got comedy, and on top of it all, you got that connection of hunting down that one gift that we all forgot to get our significant person. And don't tell me you haven't been there, because I know we all have. We're always rushing last minute because we all procrastinate. So honestly, this film will connect with a lot of you out there. Again, this movie wasn't huge. It didn't make a buttload of money, but I always put it on my list and I watch it every single year because it just reminds me of what I used to watch and enjoy as a kid. And every kid loves action heroes, so it just kind of connects with us. Again, this is one of those films that you will enjoy with your family, so please go check it out. You do not want to miss it, and you can actually stream it currently on primetime subscription through YouTube, a Star subscription, or on Amazon Prime. So you know how the saying goes, so bad that it's good? I think this film kind of falls in there for me because I love it so much, man. And on top of it, you get 3 iconic actors in the same movie. And it's a Christmas movie? Sign me up! And that movie is Christmas with the Kranks. This movie has been a staple in my holiday festivities pretty much since my mom became a super fan of Jamie Lee Curtis, because she does play in this and she's actually married to Tim Allen in the movie. So not only do you got Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis in a Christmas movie, but then you add Dan Aykroyd on the end, you know I have to watch it. If you have never heard about this film, let me go ahead and tell you what it's all about. Finally alone for the holidays, Luther and Nora, Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis, plan to avoid the Christmas traditions and take a cruise in the Caribbean instead. However, this doesn't sit well with their Christmas-obsessed neighbor, Vic, Dan Aykroyd, who is determined to win the annual Best Decorated Street competition, and the Kranks soon find themselves social outcasts because of their lack of Christmas spirit. And again, this wasn't the best Christmas movie when it first was released, but I feel like a lot of love has come to this movie over years to come because it gets put almost every single streaming device every single year. And when you got a cast like Tim Allen, who's played Santa Claus himself, and Jamie Lee Curtis, which she's already been in Halloween, so why can't she act in a Christmas movie? You know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, 2 holidays, it just works out that way. You have to check out the film, of course. This is one of those films that it has great comedy throughout. I enjoy it. It has the Christmas spirit of literally them trying to avoid Christmas and then finally realizing what Christmas is about and that they can avoid Christmas. And it's just very, very nice. And it's one of those movies that you will enjoy because of all the Christmas aspects and what we as human beings sometimes wish we could do. Don't we all wish, especially if you live up north, to avoid the snow and take a trip to Hawaii and avoid all the family coming in and all the neighbors and decorating? But at the end of the day, we all know deep down, once you're there in Hawaii for a couple days, you will miss all that Christmas spirit. And that's what this movie plays on. So if you've never seen this movie, please go check it out. It is actually streaming right now on Amazon Prime for free. And don't forget to have your Christmas decorations up. So when you were a kid, did you ever have to put soap in your mouth if you said a cuss word? If so, then this movie speaks to you because this movie is probably where your parents got the idea. So if you ask any film buff out there, they might say one of their favorite Christmas movies of all time is A Christmas Story. And with a sequel on the horizon, A Christmas Story is a beloved tale of a kid getting into mischief right before Christmas. So what's not to enjoy? And if you have never heard about this movie, let me go ahead and give you the rundown real quick. This beloved holiday movie follows the witty exploits of youngster Ralphie Parker, who spends most of his time dodging a bully and dreaming of his ideal Christmas gift, a Red Ryder air rifle. Frequently at odds with his cranky dad, but comforted by his mother, Ralphie struggles to make it to Christmas Day with his glasses and his hopes intact. And this movie was made in the 80s, so of course you know it's a great film. Because the 80s was just a genre of great films coming out one after another, that you know a Christmas movie was bound to come out eventually and be one of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time. And it connects to all of us on so many levels, because imagine you being a kid still to this day, wanting that one gift. It didn't matter what it was, an action figure, a toy rifle, a video game, whatever it is or may be, that one gift still sticks out to us even as adults, that it just makes sense that this movie would connect to so many. And on top of it, we've all had to go through a bullying experience. Stop bullying right now. And the ideals of dealing with parents and trying to be something great in their eyes, while also having the other one always comforting us. It's just a great tale of what Christmas is about and all the Christmas family-oriented stuff, and just having this iconic character like Ralphie become such a success. They have literally a second movie coming out very soon, and I can see exactly why. Oh, and if you see a iconic leg lamp with some fishnet stockings, yeah, it's from this movie. You can actually stream this movie right now on HBO Max, so make sure you guys go watch it before the second one comes out so you're caught up. And of course, to wrap the list up, you can't go wrong with a classic. I have to put this one on here because me personally, I've never seen it, and I know, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get so much shame in the comments, but I believe it belongs on this list in the top 10 Christmas movies of all time because of how much joy and how long it has been around that people still watch it to this day. And that movie is A Miracle on 34th Street. This movie came out in 1947. That is how old this movie has been, and this has been a beloved movie by years and years and years later, that it still holds up as one of the best, if not the best, Christmas movie of all time. And if you have never heard of this because you're too young, as some of us might be, the movie kind of goes like this. In this Christmas classic, an old man going by the name of Kris Kringle fills in for an intoxicated Santa in Macy's annual Thanksgiving Day parade. Kris Kringle proves to be such a hit that he is soon appearing regularly at the chain's main store in Midtown Manhattan. When Kris Kringle surprises customers and employees alike by claiming that he really is Santa Claus, it leads to a court case to determine his mental health and, more importantly, his authenticity. And just with that little rundown right there, you know you have to see it because you need to know, is this the real Kris Kringle or is this some made-up wannabe? And you can kind of see how this movie's gonna go. It has the magic that you want in any Christmas movie, as well as giving you that old feel of how film used to be, and just adding a black and white over that, it just, it makes you just want to sit and relax. From what I've heard, this is one of the best movies of all time by a lot of people, and it's kind of compared with It's a Wonderful Life, which is another great Christmas movie that I just haven't seen, so that's why I did not include it on my list. But this one, the Macy's Day Parade, has been such a big iconic thing for years that this movie will always be watched, no matter how old it gets, that this movie has actually outlived most of its actors. You can actually catch this movie right now streaming on Amazon Prime as well as Disney Plus, so make sure you guys go check it out because this will be one of those holiday movies that your whole family will enjoy. And that is it. Now, granted, lists could change for years to come because there's always new movies being made all the time, and there's some new Christmas movies coming out this year that I want to check out. So if you don't know, there is a Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell Christmas movie coming out, and I believe it involves some musical numbers, and it drops on Apple TV, as well as some other Christmas movies coming out along the way. So make sure you guys go check it out and check them out, and let me know what you guys think about the list that I currently have made. Did I include your favorite movie? And if I didn't, drop your favorite Christmas movie down in the comments below, and maybe I'll add it to my list next year. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys leave a like on the video, as well as hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you guys get notified when I do my upload. I upload daily movie fact shorts as well as videos weekly, so you don't want to miss anything. Also, in the description below, you'll find a couple links that you definitely want to check out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as I always say, stay nerdy, stay geeky, and I will see you guys at the movies. Bye-bye.